Good afternoon and welcome to the Scottish Football Zone as we look ahead to another big game for Scotland tonight. Hopefully the performance will be a wee bit better, but who cares if we don't play well and still win the game. It was a weird old game on Thursday night against Greece. Um, but we've got another big game to meet against Belarus at Hampden at 5 o'clock. Joined today with Ethan, as always, and Regan will be coming on soon as well. Before we dive into the game itself, Ethan, what was your assessment of the game on Thursday night?
Yeah, exactly. As you really alluded to, I hope for a better performance tonight because it certainly wasn't a good one the other night. Maybe one of the worst we've seen from Scotland in a while. Maybe even worse than the 3-0 game Scotland lost to Greece at Hampden. But they were clinical in front of goal and took their chances. And at the end of the day, if we get to the World Cup for the first time in, nearly 3 decades, is it now? Then I don't think anyone's really going to care too much. So yeah, hopefully they can put on a better performance tonight, though, because they are obviously massive favourites against a team like Belarus. It wasn't the best performance away in Hungary in the reverse fixture, but we got the job done there as well. But hoping for a better result tonight because we could do with a buffer on the goal difference because Denmark have obviously opened up quite the margin with their 6-0 win against Belarus the other night.
Yeah, and obviously, before Ethan said that I'm the oldest one in the team, and I remember Scotland being at a World Cup, but I'm sure that you and Reagan and Alex hasn't saw Scotland get a World Cup before, so it would be good to see it.
Yeah, exactly that. And as I said, I don't really mind. We're 3 games away now, and well, games wise, you could say that's the closest we've been in a while because I know we got to that playoff round where disappointingly knocked out against Ukraine. Well, then you could say we were 1 game away if we had won that, but if we win tonight, which we should do, if we lose to Belarus or draw against Belarus, then quite frankly we don't deserve to be at any World Cups. And looking at the result in the other game, I think a draw ideally works best in our favour, and that means I believe that regardless of the result in Piraeus, I'd imagine the game's played away to Greece. Regardless of what happens there, as long as we beat Denmark in the last game at Hampden, we'll be going to the World Cup. So that's a lot of things still to happen, I know, but us Scotland fans, we do always get dreaming. So no, Scotland, they put themselves in a really good position. I think I'm not one of Steve Clarke's biggest fans, and I haven't been for a while now. It's taken a lot for me to sort of get back on his side after the recent Euros, because I thought the performances, especially against Hungary, were terrible and not good enough. He's obviously kept his job and he's earned the respect back of a lot of fans. The performances probably haven't been there for this camp, but the results certainly have, and at the end of the day, it's a results business, and I don't think any Scotland fan will remember how we qualified for the first World Cup in a while if we actually get there, and that's what we need to do, and hopefully we can kick on tonight and get another big win towards that. And obviously, I think, do you want me to read out the team just now?
Yeah. Have you got
Um,
it? Yep.
yeah, it's a pretty rotated team from the other night, and obviously I think the opponents in mind, giving some other players a chance. So in goals is unchanged, Angus Gunn. The back four is Andy Robertson and a gang, but Anthony Ralston comes in at right back. Jack Hendry and Scott McKenna, the two central defenders. And then in the midfield, there's a combination of Scott McTominay, John McGinn, Billy Gilmore comes in, and Ben Gannon-Doak starts again, and unchanged up top, despite Lyndon Dykes getting that goal off the bench. Shea Adams keeps his place in the team. So, and Kenny McLean, sorry, is part of the midfield as well. His name nearly escaped me at the bottom there, but yeah, he's shuffled it up quite a bit. So, it'll be interesting to see if any of these players come in and sort of stake a place for the two massive games to finish the group next month.
I think as well that we were talking on Friday night, me and Reagan, after the game against Greece as well, and and I kind of said to him that we I would like to see two up front, especially at home. I know Graham was saying about the worst team in the group, and yes, they are, but you still got to show them a bit of respect. But I would go fancy Dykes and Agams up front to make just to see how that kind of works, especially at home as well. Obviously, you can't you can't cry that out when you're going away for the next game. And the next game, well, the next game is against Greece, and you would like to think if they get beat tonight, it's quite hard to think that they could be out of the competition
Yep.
as well. But going away from home, you wouldn't carry two up front. But tonight's the perfect performance, and also Graham was making the point about Lennon Miller. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm sick of saying on the show, Ethan, you probably heard me saying this till I'm kind of dark blue in the face now because we're talking about Scotland. What's the point of young, talented players coming through if they don't get a chance at international level?
Yeah, exactly that. And this type of games a sort of shoe in, you would think, to give players like Lennon Miller a real chance in a competitive match because he's not had a. I know he started one of the friendlies in the summer. Was it Liechtenstein away? He started in and he
Yeah,
looked
I
really good.
can't remember. Yeah,
He was
yeah.
one of the best players, and I know that obviously I think it was Liechtenstein, the opponents. I'll just double check, but it was one of the lower ranked teams anyway. Yeah,
I mean,
Liechtenstein
yeah.
4-0, Scotland won, and he was one of the better players. And I know that level of opponent isn't great, and it's a friendly match, but this is a perfect opportunity to put players like that in. Lennon Miller, no disrespect to the Belarus players, but on paper he would be better than every single one of their players. So there's no reason
Mm,
why a player that's moved to the Serie A and is competing for a mid to sort of higher range Serie A club at the moment in Udinese can't go in there and start a game like this for Scotland and develop on a international level as well as a club level like he has done. Because I think the only other time I can remember him coming on a competitive match, he came on for maybe a couple of minutes here and there. So, yeah, it feels like a missed opportunity. And with the two strikers argument, I would agree. I'd like to see Steve Clarke be more positive, and I've said that watching the games. I thought that in the first game, although a great result in Copenhagen, I thought maybe if Scotland went for it a little bit more, they could have got a winner. But of course, it's a great result, and you always run the risk of pushing too hard, and then maybe you leave yourself open to concede. But I mean, I can't really complain with Steve Clarke too much, as I said, because the results have obviously been really good. But
mm,
I think when it gets to that sort of level of maybe make or break in the last game against Denmark, if it comes down to that, and we need to win that game to qualify to the World Cup, then you would want to hope that Steve Clarke's positive enough to not play two strikers against Denmark, because we're not telling them to be stupid or set us up for failure or whatever, but just to make those changes in the game at a time to positively affect the team and push them on. Because if it does come down to a one-off game, a cup final almost against Denmark, then hopefully we have the capabilities to win that. And I think we do. I think we've shown in recent performances against the bigger nations, not the elite nations like your Germanys, but your sort of Denmark's, your Croatia's, Greece as well, that on the most part Scotland compete and can do it, that we've obviously got a really good team. And I think most fans feel this is one of the carrying on from a few generations, maybe you could call it, but the last maybe half a decade or whatever has been Scotland's best team in a while, and we need to really take that opportunity to get to a World Cup where we can, because some of these players, your John McGinns and your Scott McTominays, aren't going to be about forever, and they're not. Although we've got players coming through like your Lennon Millers, Billy Gilmore's, I think's a little bit younger, but not too much younger. Maybe he's a bit younger than McTominay. He's probably about the same age, actually, thinking about it. No, 4 years younger, but 24. So, but yeah, we really need to relish this golden generation while we have it, and really get ourselves to a tournament.
Yep. Reagan's joined us now as well. I don't know if you've heard of the team today yet,
Yeah,
Reagan,
I've
but
heard it. I
yep,
just put my computer on there, Michael, and seen the team there. I just find that an absolute disgrace that the team lineup. I'm just really, really disappointed that we're playing the bottom team in the group here, and we're playing Che Adams. No disrespect to Kenny McLean, but I just think we're I like what Steve Clark's done for Scotland. Totally appreciate it. I don't know if you agree with him, but I just think the guy is too loyal to these players. I mean, how can you not choose Dykes after what he brought to the team on Thursday night? I mean, me and Michael spoke on Friday for the people that watched, and we said that surely this match is a chance to play two up front against the worst team in the group, try and expose them, try and get um, make sure that we get all the ball, we get all the possession, we get all the players that we want in the squad. And I just think that I'm quite happy with Scott McKenna because I think he's a good player. And I don't mind Jack Henry because I'm not a big fan of Grant Hanley, as you well know, Michael. But I just think that we need to be adventurous. I think I'd be saying the same thing if it was like a Celtic or a Rangers playing against a team like maybe a St Johnson or a Livingston to get two players up front because you know that they're going to sit to 10 buses, as Michael likes to say. And I just think that to play Jay Adams up there on his own, I just find it really strange. I don't know if you agree with me.
No, I do. I completely agree with you. I think there's a point in. I, I know that managers like to play the same philosophy, the same formation. They like to keep it consistent regardless of who they're playing against. But I think international football is slightly different. There's less sort of tactics involved, and I just think that there would be no problem with Scotland playing a back three tonight with two up front. I don't think that would cause Scotland any problems. They should have more than enough to go and beat this Belarus team. And I don't understand why he's not going for two strikers because he's obviously done it in this campaign as well in the most difficult game on paper in Copenhagen. So I don't really understand it. And in the reverse fixture, although he opened the scoring and I thought he was pretty good on the night, there was large periods of that first half. Shea Adams couldn't really get a touch of the ball. He was coming really deep to get a feel of the game because he's obviously up there with 5 and 6 at a back 5 and 6 of Belarus that are sitting deep and making it difficult for him. Where
Yeah,
as you get maybe Dykes in there, then you've got an aerial presence that you can fire the ball into and he can knock it down. And the classic big striker, little striker. Well, Shea Adams isn't too little, but you know what I'm trying to say. The
yeah, big
classic
man, you man.
Aye, the classic two sort of striker combination, but obviously two strikers is something that's not really as
Yeah,
popular in the game anymore, but I still think there's a place for it, and there could have been tonight. But if Scotland go out and blow Belarus away in the first half, and maybe they're 2-3-0 up at half time, then I don't think anyone will complain. But based off how we performed in the first game, and for large periods it was a struggle against Belarus and Hungary, then I can see why that could maybe be a concern.
and I mean, obviously, like I'm a big advocate for Steve Clark, even, but I just think like what message does that centre player that's then went on to do well on Thursday night, and then he's not been uh, totally rewarded for what he's been done because I, I mean I find this at club level as well. I don't understand why if see 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 if you go on and you show the manager that you've done well, that should be rewarded. I've never been in a football dressing room, but I think I would be totally disappointed if I'm like say I'm a Dykes or someone like that who's went on to the match on Thursday, played really well, and then thought, okay, I'm back on the bench again.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that, and yeah, it is a strange one, and I think Steve Clark probably above most managers maybe in world football. Shows a lot of loyalty to players and in the way that maybe if they're not performing for the national team, he keeps them in. If they're not performing for their clubs, he keeps them in, and probably too often for our liking. But it's obviously the way he's went about his business, and he's had success that not many other Scottish managers could say they've had. And also, I think tonight he becomes the man to manage Scotland in the most games. Would that be right? So obviously shows that he's done something right across his tenure. But ultimately, I think Scotland fans are wanting to get to a World Cup now, and that's what Steve Clarke's going to be judged on. And he's got 3 games, and I think it's a very doable task. It's not a easy task, not by any means, but it's definitely in Scotland's hands. And if we can carry confidence from this game into the next campaign in a month's time, then you never know. And just hoping that we can get over the line. We're only 3 games away, and but as Scotland fans, it seems all too common that we're so close to the World Cup, and it somehow something happens, like we lose to Belarus or something silly. So hopefully that doesn't happen tonight, and hopefully we get the job done first of all. But hopefully a good performance and a good scoreline to go with it.
Sorry, Mike, I'm just going to ask you guys. I mean, what are you guys wanting from the Denmark and Greece game? Do you guys want to see a draw there, or you want to see Denmark winning? Because I don't agree with this. That what people are saying, if Denmark win, then that's good. That's great for Scotland. I want to see us beat Belarus. I want that game to be a draw. Then I want us to go and beat Greece. And then all we need to do is get a draw against Denmark at home in the last game.
Yeah, exactly that. There is, if Denmark win, then although Greece are out of contention, it means that we still need to pick up a hefty amount of points. As you said, 4 in our last 2 games, which won't be easy. Whereas if it's a draw tonight, I think I referenced it. I don't know if you heard, Reagan, maybe before you come on, that if that's a draw and they get the other game tonight, then the Scotland result against Greece doesn't matter as long as they beat Denmark at home. And I know, of course, we want to go to Greece and get a result. I'm not saying you just give up on the game or whatever, but it puts us in a really good position if it's a draw. If Greece win, obviously it helps us. We'll be the team with the advantage at the moment, but then that means if Greece beat us, then it's a difficult to even get second. And I don't think we should be aiming for second. I think we've got the capabilities to go and aim for first place, and second place is going to be difficult. I think it's 2 rounds of playoffs you need to play against. There'll be really solid teams as well. So
Yeah, I think
it's not going to be. It's by no means a guarantee. And you've seen Scotland in these situations before, so you just want to aim for first.
I think there's a possibility we could play Germany in a playoff.
Yeah, there is. I think they will win their group, I'd imagine, but they've obviously not yet. And they lost to Slovakia, I think, early in the group. So that's why maybe they're not a shoe-in, because currently they've got the same points as Northern Ireland and Slovakia with 3 games to play on 6, Luxembourg on none. So, yeah, you'd fancy Germany to pick up more points than the other 2 teams.
So who else can we potentially play in these playoffs? Because I'm not totally thinking that we should be aiming for these playoffs. People keep saying, "Oh, we should hope Denmark should win tonight." No, I don't want Denmark to win. I want to be a draw.
No, exactly that. I'm looking down the, and this is just the teams in second just now. So it looks like from group, I don't know why I'm doing this in reverse order, from Group L, and we're looking very ahead of ourselves as Scotland fans too. But Croatia, Czech Republic, no easy games. I imagine England will win Group K, so it looks like it'll be Albania or maybe a Serbia, not an easy game. Then Group J, currently the team in second is Belgium, or it could be North Macedonia, which is not an easy game either. I know maybe
How
on
many
the face
points
of
is
it.
Belgium and North Macedonia on at the moment?
North Macedonia on 12, Belgium and Wales are on 11 and 10, although Belgium and Wales have played a game less, so they're all still very much in contention. And in Group I is probably the most difficult one. It looks like Norway are going to run away with that group. So Italy look like the team probably favourites for second, so you could play an Italy in a playoff, which obviously not a very good team to play. Like some of the other ones, you've got maybe the likes of Poland or a Finland or like a Hungary or an Armenia. So it's not going to be an easy game, and there'll be a lot of pressure riding on it. You just want to get that first spot and get there.
Group you're
We're
talking
very
about
much
there, see the group you're talking there about Norway and Norway and Italy. I think what's the point difference there? Because I think we could beat Norway. No problem. Honestly, I think we.
Norway. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd fancy Scotland against Norway at the moment. They've got 6 games played, 6 wins, 29 goals, 3 conceded, 18 points, 6 ahead of Italy, who do have a game in hand. Italy won 4, lost 1. Their only defeat came against Norway, I believe.
Who's in the third place?
Israel are in the third place, well ahead of Estonia and Moldova, but I imagine it'll be Norway. It looks like Norway are going to win that group, and Italy will finish second. So I do believe that Italy will be in the playoffs. So that shows the caliber of opposition.
That's quite interesting because there's no really teams there that would fear apart from Germany.
You wouldn't fear Italy, no?
I wouldn't say I would fear them. In terms of their goalkeepers, that's the only thing I would fear about them. But I wouldn't say I really fear them.
Well, you're a lot more confident than me. No, I think I agree with.
I mean, obviously they've got. Obviously they've got players in there like that you can really think of, like Chiesa and that. But I don't think they've got really like top. They've got like probably some individual players that you would stack up. But I think on a one-off game we could really do better.
Well, we could do, but I wouldn't want it to happen. I'd rather probably get someone else. And I don't think I would fancy. You never know. You know, international football is a funny game. I think we should just.
I think it would just be Scotland's luck, even, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it probably would be. So that's why someone's mentioned it in the chat there. I can't see if it is qualifying if it goes to playoff, and I would probably be the same. I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence in us in that kind of scenario, and they sort of one-off games, kind of. Although it's 2 legs, it's still a kind of one-off sort of situation, and Scotland haven't performed well in them recently, even when they've been a good team. So I don't really want us to go down that route. I think we should really just focus on winning the group, and I think that's exactly what Steve Clarke will be remonstrating to the players, and hopefully that carries on to the pitch tonight, and we put ourselves in a really good position. If results elsewhere go away, then brilliant. We can look forward to being top of the group. Well, not look forward. We can be top of the group and hopefully stay there.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you something, Ethan, because I spoke to Michael about it the other day. But I mean, see the match the other night. I mean, I think I nearly ended up in the hospital with the amount of palpitations I was getting in my heart, because I think we just set off the Greek team too much. Like, I don't know if you agree, but I just feel like if you go into these matches against better opposition technically than us, then you're going to get punished. So I don't know why we sat back too much, because I know we won the game by 3 goals to 1 and all that, but I think there needs to be a bit of realism there. I mean, Solis probably should have put Greece in front straight away.
Oh, Pavlidis it was.
Yeah, Pavlidis,
yeah. He should. That was a bad miss. Really, that would have changed the game completely. I really don't see Scotland. Well, obviously score 3 goals, but I don't know how Scotland managed to score 3 goals. But credit to the players; they showed the resilience. They kept fighting because it was difficult, and we did set off Greece, and that's where it goes back to the point I made earlier about sometimes I feel that Steve Clarke sets the sort of team up too negatively, and I know maybe that was the game plan to sort of let Greece have the ball and dictate the game and hit on the counter-attack, use our sort of height advantage, which we probably had on them from set pieces and whatever, like we done. So, yeah, there's obviously a game plan and stuff like that, but I feel like if you want to make it to a World Cup, there is a point where you need to start being positive and show your authority and say, right, we're a World Cup quality team. We're going to show that and we're going to beat teams like Greece and Denmark, because ultimately that's what you need to do to get to a World Cup. And yeah, I think there's still a lot for Scotland to do. But something that was interesting that I've gave Steve Clarke a lot of criticism for, and it probably immediately backfired the other night, but was that he actually made a substitution or a couple of substitutions really early by Steve Clarke's standards. 58th, 59th minute, he brought off Aaron Hickey, who I think is injury related, because I don't think he's in the squad for the game tonight. Obviously, why Anthony Ralston came on and comes in, and he's obviously been struggling for fitness, been out for so long. And then he brought Ben Gannon-Doak off for Billy Gilmour, which on the face of it looks like quite a negative substitution, bringing off like an attacking winger for a kind of midfielder. And then obviously 2 minutes later, Greece score, so it didn't really work out that well. But obviously we got to score 3 goals after that. So no, credit to Steve Clarke for changing his ways, I'll say, because he's been very stubborn on that point of not making substitutions, and it drives you nuts when it seems like you can see the inevitable happening, that it looks like the other team's going to score, or it looks like Scotland aren't going to find the goal they need or whatever, like the Hungary game, for example, and he just kind of sits on his hands and expects the players just to make something happen out of nothing. And that's what happened. That's what happened, in all fairness, against Greece. It wasn't really sustained pressure. It was more just individual moments or sort of scrappy goals, I'll say, goalkeeper mistakes. It wasn't the prettiest 3 goals you'll ever see. But at the end of the day, no one cares. If we win tonight and we win the next 2 games, don't care. But I just think that kind of stuff catches up to you. I don't think you can place a 6-game group stage without playing well throughout it and get through. I just don't really see how that works. And I know it's worked for 3 games so far, but I feel like unless the team steps up and be's consistent and sort of be's really positive in the games, I do think that I can see inevitably negative results coming our way, unfortunately.
See how back to the point that I always make when we do shows about Scotland, Reagan, and you and Ethan might get sick of me saying this, but there's a point to that, right? So Graham made the point early on about Len Miller, right? And obviously Keelan Bowie at Hibs, right? But there's a perfect example. Greece away from home the other night brought on a 17-year-old, 20 minutes to go. Now, why can't we not do things like that especially at home?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the bravery from the manager, simple as that. I just don't feel like he's got the total bravery. I think he's got the trust, Michael, but I just don't know if he's got the bravery to be doing stuff like that.
Well,
yeah. I would completely agree with you, Michael, and the boy I think you're referring to, Konstantinos Karetzas, was the one that scored against Scotland at Hampden. So I think he would have started the game actually as well. I think he was carrying an illness, so he was a doubt to even make the squad, sort of thing. So he probably would have started if all things were going well for him, and that's what Greece have got at the minute. They've got some. And I know it ultimately hasn't worked out for them in Scotland in most of the recent games, because we've won 2 of the last 3. Although I would say they've probably been the better team in all 3 of them, in all fairness to them. They're developing a lot of young sort of players, and it's a sort of golden generation for them as well. They're obviously a little bit further behind in the terms. We've got a lot more experienced players playing at the top level, like your Scott McTominays and John McGinns and Andy Robertson, who are kind of coming into the sort of the later prime of their career, where you've got players like the 17-year-old, there was an 18-year-old central midfielder as well, and one of the other substitutes, Kostin Tilias, I think it is, the attacking midfielder, who was really good at Hampden in the 3-0 game. He started that as well. So yeah, they've got a lot of young players coming through. They're a really talented squad. So no, it'll be really difficult to go over there to Paris as well, because they'll want revenge. And as I said, I think they've been better in all 3 games we've played them recently. So I think it's a massive task for Scotland to go over there and get a win. as it is to get a win at home against
I
Denmark.
think the only thing, Ethan, I don't think it'll be as tough though because I think if they draw tonight, I think their heads will be a bit down because if you look at their manager, he would even be thinking, right, we've already beat Scotland before, well at Hampden, and they've proven that they can do well against Denmark as well, and to get no points or 1 point potentially from Denmark, I think their total negativity would set in the squad. Um, but the thing for me as well, guys, is I feel like the fact that we played them in the Nations League and we beat them 1-0 away from home, I think that might serve as well. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys can remember, but I think it was about 6 months ago, I'm sure. We played them and we beat them 1-0, was it? I'm
Yeah,
sure.
1-0 in the first leg, and then we lost obviously 3-0 at home, and that's been a thing with Greece that they've been really good away from home recently, especially they were before Thursday night against the old enemy because they played England in one of their qualifying groups, lost at home but won at Wembley, and then obviously they lost at home but won at Hampden. So yeah, away from, and they've actually probably against Scotland and England, and I know it's a small sample size, they've probably been better and they are in the away games than they actually have at the home games results wise. So there's no reason why Scotland can't go over there and get a win, but I just think they really need to be better because I don't believe in that playing sort of not riding your luck. I think you can only ride your luck for so long in football, and I think Scotland have rode their luck, and obviously sometimes you make your own luck, but I think it will eventually catch up to the players, so they need to start putting in performances that give Scotland fans confidence, because although we got the win the other night, it didn't take much confidence from the game. Do you think that would be sort of fair to say that although we won, that you're not going to look at that and going, okay, we're going to win this group now? Obviously, we put ourselves in a really good position too, but not. I don't know. It's a strange feeling when the team's not playing the best, but getting the results. It's a balance. I've said it already. I don't care if we get to the World Cup and the States, Canada, and Mexico. Then, yeah, I really don't mind how we're playing, but I do think the performances need to be better, and hopefully that starts tonight against a Belarus team we should be looking to beat comfortably.
I mean, obviously, me and Michael spoke. Sorry, Michael. Obviously, me and you spoke on Friday, and you were talking about like that we need to get to the World Cup and do something better.
Hmm.
I'm the kind of opposite opinion to you, maybe. I just want to get there in a minute. I just want to be there because
Ye-
it's been that long since I've been there. I mean,
ye-
1998. So I'm just kind of hoping that we get there. And to be
Yeah,
honest, to be honest,
I think the point I was trying to make, Reagan, was you want to get there, but going on from two last Euros, we got there and we done nothing. So it's not. I know what you're saying. Qualifying for the Euros or the World Cup's a big achievement, but you just don't want to be there to make up the numbers. You want to actually try and get out the group and progress. Okay, we might be up against it, but if you're going with that attitude into any tournament, you may as well know playing football. You know.
I get what you mean, but I just mean for the whole nostalgic element of saying I've seen Scotland at
Yeah,
a World Cup. That's what I'm
yeah.
thinking.
No,
Because
exactly.
I'm sick of no series there. I'm sick of watching Wales and England and all that. Northern Ireland all been there. I want to see us being there, and you and Nathan watching the game in Glasgow City Centre, and the place being absolutely mobbed everywhere. I want people to be enjoying it. So I just feel like as well, guys, that I think it's going to be a great tournament. I just hope that Scotland can somehow manage to get there.
Well, Ethan, Stevie Clark said yesterday, there's no room for complacency, and on the back of our good win on Thursday night, we need to do it again. He says Belarus will make it difficult for us, but it's up to us. And we've got the home advantage. We've got I don't know that I think the game will be a sellout tonight, 5 o'clock on the Sunday night. Um, we've got the home advantage as well. Greece is going to come, sorry, Belarus is going to come, make it stuffy, make it difficult. It's going to be a difficult game from first to night, but it's up to Scotland to get the job done. And I think an easy, I think an early goal will settle the nerves a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree, and that's what Scotland need, because the fans will get sort of nervous, and you felt that in the stadium the other night. They were sort of on edge, especially when Scotland were being really negative with the ball and passing it backwards. There was groans from the fans, and rightfully so, because they want to see forward-thinking football. And at times, especially in that first half, some of the football Scotland were playing was dreadful, and it was hurting your eyes to watch it. It was that bad, but they should be on the front foot tonight, playing with confidence, playing off the massive high of the other night, and hopefully they can put together a performance that and a result that we're proud of, and we can carry into the two massive games, which is all obviously completely different scenarios with two really top teams that will be difficult to beat, both away from home to Greece and at home to Denmark. I was just looking back there, and I think the last time Scotland scored, unless maybe someone could correct me if I missed anything, but the last time Scotland scored 4 goals in a competitive match was 2022, so the summer of 2022. So it's been quite a while, and it'd be nice to see Scotland get a big win. Maybe I'm asking for too much with this team, and that's not really the way Steve Clarke's teams work, but I think we can do it, and hopefully the players put on a show for the fans in attendance.
No, I totally agree with you, and I made that point to Reagan on Friday night when we done the show. Scotland's not known for a high scoring team. It's always been 1-0, 2-0, maybe 3-0. But you would like to see us coming on the show tonight. Scotland winning 5-0. Reagan.
Yeah, I think especially for the confidence of the group, and also the fact that Belarus could beat 5-0, 6-0, sorry, on Thursday night. I don't think they'll be flying with confidence either. But I think that's as well even why we need to get out of the traps very quickly to try and make sure that they don't get ahead of steam and go, right, well, let's try and get to a certain point, because see if they say that it's 0-0 in 42 minutes, they'll be thinking, right, make sure we get a half time, nothing each, and then try and ball for there. So if we can go and score in the first 15 minutes, then it becomes so much easier, because then their resistance has already been broken. So
yeah, and exactly that. You want to settle the nerves, because ultimately their aim is coming to Hampden, hoping to get a point. A point for them would be a good result. Obviously, they're not going to qualify. They're going to be bottom in the group as expected, but they take pride in performances and getting results and memorable ones at Hampden, and they'll see it as the best opportunity probably, because you look at the other two games against the other two teams. You lost 5-1 against Greece and 6-0 against Denmark, whereas we only beat them 2-0. So, yeah, you'd like to see Scotland sort of rack up the goals tonight, because also, if it is going to come down to goal difference, especially with Denmark, then we do need to try and catch up on that metric, because obviously they're ahead after that win at the weekend, the win on Thursday, sorry, and they're 5 goal difference ahead of us. So that's something I'd like to see the team sort of change, because we've only scored 5 goals in 3 games, which isn't a lot, and I know 2 of them are against good teams, but
I'm interested, because that's a good point you make, Ethan, right? But why? I don't understand why Steve Clarke decides to play 2 up front against the best team in the group, but then when you play the worst team in the group, you play 1 up front. I don't get it. Do you guys know?
No, I don't, and it'd be interesting to see sort of thought process behind it because I really don't understand. I don't. It's obviously the way he wanted to set up. There must have been something he's seen in the Denmark team maybe, and he thought, okay, we can exploit this. But yeah, you would think that he would sort of throw someone else up there with maybe Shea Adams or Lyndon Dykes, give him the chance after his goal midweek, or give someone like Kieran Bowie his debut. And obviously, it's a massive pressure match. We shouldn't be sort of over egging it as if, oh, let's just throw in all the kids. But there is opportunities there to give players like Lennon Miller and Kieran Bowie a chance. And although he's rotated the squad a lot, I think 5 changes from the other night, it still feels like there could have been other players that come in, because players like Kenny McLean aren't going to be around forever. And although if we were to get to the World Cup, he'd probably be in the squad most realistically with Steve Clarke's thoughts on him. He obviously thinks very highly of him, but at the end of the day, he's not going to be about forever. If Scotland fail to qualify, he's probably not going to be about for
No, he's not going to.
camp. So whereas Lennon Miller's there for the next 4, 5, 6 camps, hopefully, if he can develop into the player I think we all think he can do. So yeah, I don't really understand that in this kind of scenario, but I still hope Kenny McLean has a great game and proves me wrong. But I'd just rather see a player like Lennon Miller come in and show why he's been so highly rated and show it on an international level, because he's not really had the opportunity to do that yet.
I mean, did Lennon Miller not start the game against Belarus? Or was there not a game he started?
Liechtenstein, I think it was, the friendly.
So was I.
I think as well that even I know what you're saying about that you don't want to throw in kind of young players to the team if I maybe pick you up wrong right there or whatever. But another thing I always say in the show as well is, like, I know we've not got the same players as like Spain, but I mean that I think he was 19-year-old and they scored in the quarter-final of the
16-year-old.
16-year-old, yeah. So I mean, and I know that we're not at any kind of level, because that's Spain and Scotland. There's a bit of a gulf there, you know what I mean? But like, if you throw youth into games like that, or any club football, whether it's Celtic or Rangers or Scotland or whoever it is, they've got no fear. Because as I keep saying, guys, on the show, you might second me saying this to you, but they've only got one chance with Kenny McLean. If he messes it up, don't worry, he'll win the next squad.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes a lot of the time that leads to the young players coming in, being excellent, being really positive, being forward thinking and wanting to really impress, but sometimes it leads to them doing a little bit too much and they're trying to sort of over impress. I think the perfect example of that recently was Kobe Donovan, who was excellent, and then that game against Braga, where he sort of wasn't great and Brendan Rodgers took him off at half time, was a sort of learning experience for him, because I think he was sort of trying to do too much. He'd shot from just inside Braga's half and stuff like that, and stuff like that can happen. But I don't think there's any problem in sprinkling in 3 or 4 younger players when you're making 5 changes. I don't really see a problem with that, and especially again in a game like this. And that's what we need. We need positive players, forward-thinking players, because ultimately you don't imagine Scotland are going to be doing much defending tonight. I would be surprised if Angus Gunn had to make a save. And looking at the 2 squads, Angus Gunn probably shouldn't have to make a save. But that's it. The defending isn't really the side of the game that we're focusing on tonight. It's the attacking and breaking down a team that will come and be really hard to break down. I think I mentioned this in the reverse fixture. They've got 2 players from that Kairat Almaty team that knocked Celtic at the Champions League and showed the.
Don't remind me. Remind me.
Showed the defensive capabilities, obviously, in those 2 legs. So, yeah, they'll be passing the message on to their teammates that, this isn't an impossible task, that this can be done, that you can go to teams that are big favourites with better players, better sort of internationalists. Obviously, the Scotland players are all probably better than all of the Belarus players on paper. So, yeah, but there isn't. This is why we watch football, because there could be an underdog story. We're just hoping it's not tonight concerning Scotland.
Better not be tonight. Better not be tonight, because that'll be a World Cup dream over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not. Well, yeah. I think it could be. I would be surprised if we lost or drawn tonight, and then
I think
somehow.
you're jinxing it, Ethan. I'm not happy with this.
What?
I said, I think you're jinxing it.
No, I'm not. I'm not jinxing it. Don't say that.
If I come on here after the game and it's 1-1, I'll be like, it's
Not my fault.
It's definitely
Not
your
my
fault.
Right. There you go, my first show back into the fight already. Brilliant. But like Ethan Egler pointed early on, and I know I always go on about this as well. I go on about a lot of things in the show, and like you know when we look at the stats after the game, that one team has 17 shots at goal and they won the game, and all the rest of it. And I know shots going. That's not the aim of the game. The aim of the game is putting the ball in the net. And I know Ethan the other night we were happy that Scotland won the game, but I can get what you mean, because out with Scotland clicking the goals, and I'm not sure how many shots and targets Scotland got. Well,
I think we had three. I think we had 3 shots on target, 3 goals.
And they were the goals.
Yeah,
but I mean, you wouldn't be you wouldn't mind Scotland have some shots on target and then the goals as well. But I mean, to not have any shots on target to win the game, it was quite a kind of weird night at Hampden.
Yeah, it really was, and hopefully it's not the same tonight. Hopefully we have a lot more shots. Well, I mean, if we have 10 shots on target and 10 goals, I won't complain, but obviously I don't think that'll happen. But no, having more shots is obviously what we want tonight. We're against a team that is on paper but pretty inferior to even a team like Greece. So there's no reason why Scotland shouldn't be dominating the match. And I was just looking at the stats from the reverse fixture, and they had 6 shots, actually 3 on target. So maybe Angus Gunn will be busy tonight, but I'd like to see it where the only shots that Belarus are having is sort of shots from distance, and Scotland really dominate the game and press up the field and make it difficult for them, because I think the Scotland team's capable if you deploy them in the right way. Whether that'll be the case tonight and whether they'll be positive and on the front foot enough is another question, and hopefully we see in just over 15 minutes' time now.
Good evening to Colin White. He's watching the show on YouTube. He says, "Come on, Scotland! Come on, Scotland, Colin! Come on, Colin! Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Did you see the Scottish Football Zone? The numbers are going up and the subscriptions as well. So subscribe to that, and we'll be back at 7:10 tonight after the game. Hopefully with I was just looking at your face there, Reagan, when 1 minute Ethan says, I hope Angus Gunn hasn't got any shots to save. And yeah, Ethan said, yeah, 3 shots to save in the first game against Belarus away from home. Football's a funny old game, isn't it?
Aye, it is, but I just hope he's not busy tonight. Hopefully he can get a tincture out now, a cigar, because hopefully he's not busy. But I think we need to pay tribute to that brilliant save they made the other night, and I'm sure that if they do get a chance, then I'm sure he is fully able to make sure that they don't score.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Angus Gunn's save the other night was excellent, and talk about 6-point games and whatever. It was like a 6-point save, because at that point, if that goes in, then Greece obviously get the equaliser, and obviously Scotland are only coming away with a point, and maybe Greece even go on to win the game. But Scotland, right off the back of that, get the third goal, and the relief around the stadium as they cruise to 3 points and then somehow. But yeah, I think he'll be hoping he has a lot to do tonight, because at club level he went to Nottingham Forest and he's third choice goalkeeper. I seen he was speaking about that it's not really planned out how he wanted it to there. He expected to get some minutes as second choice, but he's not really got a look in under Ange Postecoglou, and I think he's looking to move club, which will be good for Scotland, because obviously you want your players, especially your our best goalkeeper, to be playing and starting for a team rather than not really getting any minutes at all. And but he was sharp the other night, and hopefully if he is called into action tonight, as I said, he shouldn't be too much. The 10 men in front of him should have a lot of the ball and should keep the ball away from his goal. But if he is called into action, hopefully he can make the saves or sort of contributions needed. And I think he will do, because I think for the most part, I don't think he's everyone's cup of tea, but I think for the most part, and he's been a steady pair of hands for Scotland, and hopefully that continues. And he will, if he can keep a couple clean sheets in the next few games, he'll maybe have earned not just himself but his team a place at the World Cup in the summer.
Michael, I think the only thing left for us to do now is do a wee prediction.
Yep, I'm trying to see what Ethan says now after his comments about Scott. Angus going to want to have he'll have a quiet night, but on the first game actually safe. So I don't know, guys. Let's go for Ethan first on the score prediction tonight.
I'm going to go for 2-1 win to Belarus. No, only joking. I think Scotland will keep a clean sheet, and I think they will score 4 goals. I'm going for a big 4 goals. I spoke about that they've not scored 4 in a competitive match since the summer of 2022. So I hope they can change that tonight and catch up to Denmark in goal difference, and hopefully the game elsewhere goes our way in Copenhagen, and we can see ourselves at the top of the group with 2 games to play.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Scotland 5, Belarus 0, and I'm going to go for Denmark 1, Greece 2. Denmark 1, Greece 2. Yeah, I'm going to go for that.
That'd be an upset. Not too surprising, but yeah, I think it'll be I feel really hard to see past Denmark. I think they're in the groove, and I think they'll have too much for Greece. A Greece team that are probably quite low at the moment, because it seems like they sort of built this campaign up as a big one and a big opportunity like yourselves to get back to a World Cup, and it's kind of been shot down already with the conceded 3 goals and losing pretty easily to both Denmark and Scotland early on. So yeah, I think they'll be low, and I think it'll be hard for them to pick up a result there, but I hope they do from a Scotland point of view.
I think I'll stick with my prediction for Friday night, Ethan Reagan, where I think 3-0 to Scotland, and I'm going to throw in a wee funny here. Greece won't be the word tonight, because I think Denmark go on 3-1 tonight. So there you go. So thanks for joining us tonight. Don't forget to subscribe and like and subscribe our YouTube channel, the Scottish Football Zone, and we'll be back at 7:10. Come on, Scotland, get my way to get my kilt on before the national anthems. Thanks to Ethan, thanks to Regan, thanks to you for watching, and come on, Scotland!
You're watching the Scottish